On today's episode, we're going to talk about the stuff you can find in Germany, but not in the US of A. As an American living in Germany, there are things I miss from home, but when I am actually back home, I do miss some things from the land of beers and pretzels. Hello, Lieblings. I'm Mari, science fiction and fantasy author who's been living in southern Germany since 2014. And I'm wearing a weird hat and sunglasses. What do you think? Cool, no? I'm taking these off. It's actually, well, by the time this films, it will be, well, by the time this will be uploaded, it will be July 5th. I'm actually filming on July 3rd. We're doing a July 4th celebration on the 3rd because tomorrow is supposed to be like terrible weather, so whatever. So I thought this episode would be very interesting, especially because I will be heading back to the States in August. It is official. We have gotten our plane tickets. Super excited. I haven't been home in 2 years, so it'll be great. If there's things you would love to see in the US, some certain things, let me know in the comments. I'll see what I can do about what kind of stuff you're interested in learning about within the States, like reverse culture shock, or if there's something particular like finding a German bakery in Indiana, which I'll get to in a moment. But anyway, this episode is not so much particularly about things that I miss. I mean, not everything, and some of it I do think is kind of funny. And I will say that a lot of this list is also food related because I love food. Yeah, so we'll start with our first one, which is quote unquote American food. So this week is American Week at Aldi. Apparently it's also American Week at Lidl, but I went to Lidl today and didn't find anything. But yesterday I was at Aldi and I did find stuff because it's 4th of July in the States, and therefore in here in Deutschland, they always sell like American Week. And here they always have like some of the weirdest food. So it'll be like what they think is American food. I will admit some of it tracks. Like you can get like, pancake mix or like syrup or hot dogs, hot dog buns, and then like relish, like good, typical Americana stuff, fine. But then you get some like weird shit, like this year at Aldi, they had ham chips, and they also had beef flavored, which is really weird and not American. But because it's weird, it's like, somebody in the US probably had this idea and probably made it to monetize on it. So I guess it checks out. And that's kind of how it is with a lot of the American food, where it's like, this is really weird. You won't find this in the States, but it's weird enough that it's still kind of on brand. So yeah, I guess. I feel like American food in general is kind of hard to pinpoint because it's such a melting pot of so many cultures. Like, how do you specify what is American specifically? So yeah, that's kind of hard to pinpoint, as opposed to when I think it was Lidl that did Latin American Week a few months ago, and they had the audacity of having prepackaged lomo saltado and they put beans in it. Hold on a minute, I have to go get the dog. Okay, so yes, we have the dog here now because my husband's outside working. Yeah, and if she's left alone to her own devices, she gets very insulted that she's left alone to her own devices. So, anyway, yeah, I was saying about, I think it was Lidl, that during their Latin American Week, they couldn't, whoever decided that lomo saltado had to have beans in it, not good, man. Not good. It was bad. I tried to see if I could find it, but I think it was in Lidl in like the Netherlands. So anyway, speaking of, it's something that a lot of us Latins have noticed here in Europe, where they think adding beans to something automatically makes something a Latin dish, because there's like 27 Latin American countries, and apparently we're all just one monolith. And while beans is found in typical dishes, just throwing it into everything doesn't make it Latin. Just like with my next one, which is having something like American pizza with corn. No, we don't eat corn with pizza in the States. Like, that's just because corn, like, came from the Americas. I mean, so did potatoes, but I'm not from, like, and I say America, not like US America, I mean South America. But, you know, that throwing corn on something is not, doesn't make it American. And you see that a lot too, which is weird. I don't understand. Like, you go to a pizza joint. Yes, my love. Yes. You go to some pizza joint and you find like American flavored, and it's usually like corn, and it's really weird. The next one that you can not find in the States, but obviously in Germany, is good bread. Yeah, this is something that, I mean, I've known pretty much my entire life that Americans in general, as a whole, don't really don't know good bread. It's not impossible to find a good bakery in the States, but you have to really look for it. And a good example is in Indianapolis, where I'm from. We actually have a German bakery. The guy who owns it is from Bavaria. He, if I remember correctly, he joined the U.S. military, I think in like the 60s or something. And then when he came to the States, he wanted to make his own company, or like he wanted to make his own food like thing. And he thought, instead of trying to compete with, you know, a typical American staples like Dunkin' Donuts, he thought, well, I'll just make what I know, which is American German bread and pastries. So that's what he did, and has been thriving ever since. It's also a store that imports German groceries, and they also bring in Leberwurst and like from Bavaria. Like, you can see it's like, you know, made in Munich or whatever. And on one side of the store, yeah, so they have like different German groceries, like Dillmeyer coffee, and you can get like curry ketchup and whatnot. And on the other side is like tchotchkes, like German souvenirs. I swear to God, he probably bought in like the 80s. And hasn't sold everything. And the inside of the cafe, I kid you not, actually looks like somebody like vomited the state of Bavaria into this store, because it's just covered in the Bavarian flag. It's so over the top, and it's really fun, and it's really kitschy. And if you're interested, when I go to the States in August, I can see about trying to vlog. It is not close, and that was this like whole point. It is still in the city of Indianapolis, where my parents live, but it is on the complete opposite end of town, which is like a 40-minute drive. So it's not unfortunate. I mean, yes, you can get like fresh bread and everything, but unfortunately it's not something you can just pop on over quickly to have fresh bread every morning, as opposed to here in Germany, where you can like throw a stone and hit 5 bakeries. You know, like you don't have that. And the reason why I've known this my whole life is like, I think I said before, I forgot at this point, but that Peruvians love fresh bread. And because whenever I went to Peru, I stayed with my aunt, and the housekeeper would always go to the bakery every morning and bring fresh bread, and it was just always so like, it was fresh out of the oven. It's so crunchy and so good. Oh my God. And so as a result, that's what my mom grew up with. And so when she came to the States, she's like, oh, I can't find good bread. So it's not just Germans complaining about the lack of good bread in the States. Peruvians too. The next thing that you can find in Germany, but not in the States, is paprika flavored everything. So Haley Alexis, who's another expat YouTuber who I'm sure like everybody who watches this also watches her channel, she did a similar video of this recently, and she made a really good point of like paprika kind of being the same as barbecue flavored everything in the States. And I think that's like the best way to describe it. I saw in the comments that I think that that paprika used to have, like, the term paprika in terms of like as a flavor had a different name that was more like politically incorrect, and that's why it was changed to paprika, which is totally valid. I'm used to it, but I mean, like, for a while, especially when I first moved to Germany, like, well, out here in the country, I don't have the benefit of, like, you know, the variety you find in larger German cities. I live out in the country. So, like, for a while, like, one of the only flavors you can get in chips is either, like, maybe salt and vinegar, salted, and then paprika. And that was it. I mean, now we're starting to get more stuff. Like I had wasabi flavored chips the other day, which is awesome. But yeah, just the idea of having this like paprika flavor. It's not just in Germany. You find it in Europe. Not right. I know. So yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. It's very hard to work when you're giving me kisses. You know that. Yeah, I love you too. It's a good thing I'm not wearing makeup today, huh? Otherwise you can just lick it all off. Yeah, I know. I love you too. All right. The next one on my list is smoked salmon. And I know. So I'm pretty sure, Roxy, stop it. I'm pretty sure smoked salmon is just more of like, because I'm from Indiana and Indiana's landlocked. So finding anything fish related is very difficult. So, I mean, I don't want to say like, I would speak for all of the US for this, because like one of my closest friends lives out in Maryland, which is the place of blue crab, and that's like, you know, for them you can get, you know, like salmon and what. So I'm sure you can get smoked salmon out there because it's on the coast, but for landlocked folks like myself in Indiana, well, landlocked except for Lake Michigan, for those of us in areas where you can't get as fresh a fish, you can't really find smoked salmon, and I really miss that because I really like it. And I actually really recently got into Lachs cream. I guess we also just add this on the list. Salmon cream. My husband's not a big fan of it. He finds it too salty, but I'm like addicted to this stuff. It's so good. Anyway. So next on my list, oh my goodness gracious. Next on my list is white asparagus. What are you doing? You can't see how she is in the camera right now. She's so cute. Oh, and if you're hearing that bzzz, that's my husband outside. So that's why, yeah, he's working on the yard, getting ready because we're having our friends coming over today. Yes. Okay. Next on our list, next on my list is white asparagus. That's just a very specific German thing. Obviously, you can get asparagus in Indiana, but not white asparagus. And that is a really fun treat. It's not something like I would really get obsessed over, but it is. I like having asparagus season and like, you know, having that small window where you can have asparagus everything. So that's fun. Next on our list is kohlrabi. And I've actually never eaten kohlrabi, but I see it in the grocery store all the time and it weirds me out. I don't really know what it is, what you eat it with. Can you tell me, guys? Can you tell me in the comment, like, what is this? Because I see it and I'm like, what is this? So yeah, I got nothing on kohlrabi except for the fact that I'm like, ugh. Is it your favorite? What's your favorite recipe? Let me know in the comments. Next is one of the few that's not food related, and that's the idea of having winter tires and summer tires. And the thing is though, like in the States, we used to actually do winter and summer tires, but this is like in the, I think like 60s and 70s, according to my dad. Well, actually, two separate things. I'm not entirely sure when was it that we used to have it, but I know we did used to do it because when I told my dad, who in one of his many professions in his life was a mechanic, when I told him that here in Germany we switch our tires, he's like, oh, you guys still do that? We don't do that anymore in the States, and we have our all winter tires. So it was a thing in the States, but we stopped because it's not a thing anymore. But we used to do it. But yeah, I think it's really interesting. I know that like it's a rather polarizing topic because a lot of people are so hardcore in believing that this is necessary, and then you have others that are like, oh, you know, year-round tires or whatever are fine. And yeah, I think it's interesting because like I find the summers and the winters a lot more extreme in Indiana than in Germany, and we have all winter tires, and I've never had a problem with all winter tires. And I live in Germany now, and I have my summer and winter tires, and I don't have problems at all. And I think it just comes down to what my dad always says is you can pretty much, you know, you can, what was it? Like you can pretty much drive anything, but as long as you're, you know, like careful kind of thing. I don't remember his exact quote, but he was just like, you can drive anything in, you know, like in whatever conditions, but you can't be an idiot about it. Like, you know, even if you have winter tires or all year or year-round tires, you don't act like an idiot when you're driving. You try to just always be careful. But, you know, that's my dad. Second to last on the list is back to food, and I know I have to mention this because my husband will probably, I know that he laments this whenever we're in the States, and that is spaghetti ice. Having ice cream that is in the shape, form, obviously not the flavor of spaghetti. He loves that. Oh my goodness, anytime he even gets a whiff that there's an ice cream, place around the corner, he's like, spaghetti ice. So we have to get spaghetti ice. And speaking of my husband, the last one on my list was was from him. The last thing that you can find in Germany, but not in the States, is Angela Merkel. But only this year, because after this year, Angela Merkel will also no longer be chancellor. So because it's an election year and she has decided to step down. So yeah, after this year, Germany also won't have Angela Merkel. So we're gonna see how that goes. So this video will be outdated very quickly. Anyway, what do you think of my list? What do you think of my list, Roxy? Huh? She's resigned to her fate. Huh? You stop fighting me. It's very warm, isn't it? Yeah. I'm gonna go outside soon where it cools down. But let me know what you guys think. What other things do you think that the US is missing besides Germany? I didn't put Windows on here, but because I think I've talked about Windows in other videos. So, but yeah, well, that's a bonus one. Windows! And that's it. Thank you so much for joining me and supporting me. If you're new here, please consider subscribing and give this video a thumbs up. This is Roxy's thumb. Thumbs up. Right? Thumbs up. Please leave me a comment if you have any questions or if there's a certain topic you'd like to see on this channel. If you want fun escapism, my space fantasy The God Queen and its sequel The Last Imperator are available in ebook, paperback, and hardback. I have all the links in the description below. If you sign up for my newsletter, you'll get a free short story as well as some behind the scenes goodies. Right. And don't forget to connect with me on social media, whether it is through Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. And that's it. Until next time, adi! Ah! You are so cute. You are so cute.